Welcome to Mind Over Money, the podcast that helps Australians have finances at work, and it all starts with our thinking. I'm your host, Lachy and Nicolson, and I'm joined by Archie Franz. Hi, Archie.
G'day, Lachlan. G'day, everyone.
Today's discussion is about how to adjust your finances to changing circumstances. How we approach change really matters, and yet it's not something that we often talk about a lot. So we're going to talk about it today and give you 3 simple steps to help you adjust your finances when life throws you a curveball.
So adjusting our money to our circumstances, how are we going to do it? Our brain, it's really wired, to protect us. It's wired to pick up negativity, anything that could be a challenge or dangerous to us. And so it hates to change. It hates to expend energy. So if we understand our brain, we can start to understand why we do things that we do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we've got to change. The world is changing. Everything's changing around us. And from a health point of view, like a mental health point of view, finding solutions is a key. So being able to find a way forward, being able to work through the change is key to keeping good mental health.
Yeah, definitely. There's always going to be change in life, and we've got to build resilience if we're going to thrive. And so challenges can be good for us if we have the right mindset to approach them. I remember reading about this in a book about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And one thing that someone with a growth mindset realizes that life can get tough. In fact, it can even get tougher sometimes as we get older. But as we keep climbing up the mountain, the view gets better. And so it's not that we're expecting everything to get easier all the time, but as we keep journeying up that mountain, we keep getting that better view. And, life gets better because we get better. We become more resilient and we start to thrive in life.
When you're saying resilience there, what do you mean by resilience?
I think when it comes to our finances, I think resilience is that ability to change, that ability to see opportunities where there are challenges and actually move towards those with solutions. Yeah. But we can't do it on our own. We need to have people around us to help us do that. Working in finances, we see a lot of change happening in people's world. I mean, you're meeting with a lot of people all the time, every week, and you're seeing all these examples of change. And sometimes because we're in our own world, we don't see some of those situations that's happening to other people around us. So we've just created a quick list of some real life examples of financial change.
Well, one thing I wanted to bring first, though, is that our brain, when we're talking about negativity, the thing about negativity is that 80% of our thoughts are negative, and then 95% of our thoughts are just the same thought again. So we've got this real challenge of overcoming negativity in our thinking. And that's what I loved about your description of resilience is it's moving from negativity into a solutions focus, a positive focus, finding a way forward. That's really where we get our resilience, especially around our finances there. Yeah, so let's talk about those challenges, real life examples there. So these are the ones we come across all the time. So in the work that we do. First one we've got here is you're expecting your first child, maybe your second child. So you could be going from 2 incomes back to 1 income. And that can be quite a large impact on your overall finances to see, that second paycheck not there anymore. We may not qualify for Centrelink benefits because we've been on 2 incomes. And so we're not going to pick up any family benefits. And so we're just trying to survive on 1 income and a bit of paid parental leave. So that one can be tough. The higher our income, the harder it is. I generally find, the lower the income, the better it is. But the higher the income, the harder it is.
Yeah. Another one here is you've been renting really cheap. Maybe you've been renting in a share house for like $150 a week or something. But now you're married, so you've got to find a new place and, to rent a home for you and your spouse. It could be $400, $500 a week. Plus you got to pay all these bills and utilities that you might have been sharing with your mates. There's a big change. Or maybe you've been renting with your partner and then you guys are about to buy a home. And then you realize that, buying a home actually has some extra costs to it on top of the rent. So you could be looking at another 20 or 30 grand more than renting.
Yeah, and that impact, if we're not looking at that impact, it can suddenly hit.
Yeah.
And you find you're $300, $400 a week down in, after it happens, and you're going, hang on, where's all my money gone?
I do look back at my teenage years. And I think, wow, I had a lot of disposable income. It was more so just a lot of unallocated income, a lot just going to coffee and KFC.
Yeah. Yep. So the next one we got here is you've changed jobs to get out of a high stress environment, get into something that you're more passionate about and more flexible, so it works better with your lifestyle. But you've lost 30,000 of income. So that's going to have a big impact on cash flow and how you think and how you operate. It doesn't mean that you're going to do worse. You're going to be worse off. It just means that something's got to change, and you've got to really look at things and understand things from a different perspective now.
I would say you're better off.
Oh, look, you can be. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a less stressed person, that's going to yield good results over a long period of time. So.
Yep. But you can see how like the negative thoughts will cut in all these situations of, oh, where am I going to get the money from? How's this going to work? My life is over. We have all these negative thoughts that just run through our mind and start bombarding us.
So true. Yeah. Here's another one. One of your cars has died suddenly. And you don't want to get a car loan. So you've got to save, let's say, $15,000 ASAP to replace a car while managing that one car maybe in your family for a short period of time. And you've got to fight that temptation not to go to the car yard on the weekend and buy a new one on debt. So that's a common one that we see. Yeah.
So the negative thoughts will be to run out and fix the problem straight away by buying another car. Whereas we're saying, okay, if you want to do better in your finances, you got to change that around and look at it differently. How can we move ahead with this situation and come out a winner? Next one we got here is your partner wants to switch from full-time to part-time, which equates to, $40,000 less in income so that they can study at uni. So that means HECS debt or paying for studies. So quite a bit of change there. But it could mean a better future. But yeah, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to make that change and make it work to your benefit?
Another one is you're starting a business and you've now got to juggle that after hours work to get that business up and running while still working. So, there might be some costs to starting up that business, but there's also a lot of time you need to put in. That can be a juggle. Yeah. And then you got to make the switch. You got to know when to actually turn off that job and turn on the business. Yeah,
there's some good challenges around that one. And we've seen some really good wins there as well. But again, the negative thoughts are going to hit, so that's what we've got to watch out for. Okay, so you've lost your job due to an unexpected health turn, and it looks like you're not going to go back to work. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
There's a lot of negative thoughts around this one.
Yeah.
There can be a lot of stress and a lot of pressure in this one.
Especially if you don't have insurance. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, you're coming up to retirement. Oh, and all of a sudden it's 10 years away, just like that. Boom, life goes quick, but you realize your super isn't where it could be and you've got a sizable home loan still left. So at this stage in life, you've got FOMO all around you. People are buying caravans, getting ready for retirement. But here you are, you've got this debt, you got to get it down and you got to get the super up ASAP. Is that common, Archie?
Yeah. And yes, it is. Yeah, I see it too often. I think a better way of saying retirement is you're going to finish work, right? So you want to cut back your work hours right back or or not work at all and start doing other things. Put your focus elsewhere. So a lot of people, look at the retirement word as a bad word. So that's already got negative connotations. So we've got to start changing our wording even, so that we can get past these things. Yeah.
Well, these are some of those real everyday scenarios that any of these could actually happen to us. And it's not just the finances that were changing in each of those examples. Notice it was a lot of different emotions that come with each of those situations. So whether it's starting a family, losing a loved one, maybe losing a job, a car, a home, taking on the risk of a new business, you're facing different fears in different seasons.
Yeah, there's very, very real fears around loss. So we're loss averse. So, any change in income where income goes down, that's a major hit. We really get hit big time in our emotions. And the studies show us, that we'll have out of 1 to 10, we'll have a 10 emotional hit when our money goes down. If we have a win and we get a better job, our emotional hit's like 3.
Wow.
On the scale of 1 to 10, it's like we hardly notice it. We just go, oh yeah, I got a pay rise. Who cares? Yeah, but when that money drops, that's when things really hit emotionally, and we start reacting.
After the break, we'll give you 3 steps we've identified to help you navigate change in your finances. Back in a bit. So life is always changing. We've got different seasons, bring different change, different challenges. And so how do we adjust to change in and around our finances? Well, we've got 3 simple steps we've identified to help you here. Number 1, we talked about this before. It was to overcome the negative voices. So according to a study by the National Science Foundation, the average person has about 12 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Wow. That's a big range, actually.
Yeah. Wow.
It just shows that some people in the room aren't really thinking and some people are thinking a lot.
I reckon it's who has the coffee. You got to think about the movie Red, and there's the squirrel that has the coffee, and he's already going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he just goes even faster.
I would say I'm pretty high up on that scale, actually. I think I'd be pushing 80,000 a day. But of those 12 to 80,000, let's say, 80% are actually negative and 95% are repetitive thoughts. So we are mostly repeating negative thoughts. So basically, we're thinking a lot more negative than we are thinking positive thoughts. But once we remove that negativity, remove those negative thoughts, we can start to be solutions focused. And that's what we want to be if we want to move ahead in our finances. We have to get unstuck from the negativity so that we can see the opportunities around us and find solutions towards them.
Yeah. It is a decision. You got to decide to find a solution. It's the only way you can actually stop the negative thoughts is decide to find a solution. When we're working with people, I see this over and over. When I'm talking to someone and, they want to achieve something and, we hit a roadblock and I let them know what the roadblock is. And if I see that person go down a solutions focus going, okay, what can we do to get around this? I know we're going to win. Because that solutions focus means that they're open to change and they're open to adjusting whatever needs to be adjusted. If the person says to me, throws their hands up and starts crying, I know we're stuck because we can't move forward because this roadblock is an actual roadblock now, and we're not gonna get past it until they decide to find a solution. So it is important. It makes a massive difference. So number 2 is to have a support team. So we can't process change alone. Sometimes we've got to have a sounding board. We've got to have someone that we can put our ideas to and get some good feedback on. We especially want them to pull out those negative thoughts and tell us to get rid of those and help us to work through whatever the solutions are that we're starting to think about. And affirm those positive thoughts that we're starting to have there. Yeah. So it's really great when you got that support team, whether we're single because we've all got our own thoughts, or whether we're in a couple situation, we're needing another person in there that can really help us to work things through and help find that solution that we're needing. Sometimes the solution is to know that everything's okay, and point out what the actual win is that's coming out of this situation. And that's all we need sometimes. Generally, from a financial point of view, we're noticing that there's at least $20,000 a year on the table. Wow. And a lot of people say to us, that there can't be that much money on the table. And it's like, yes, there is, because when we don't know what we're doing, that money will disappear. Yeah. And there's many ways it will disappear. But when we know what we're doing, we're going to achieve all the goals that we set out to achieve. We're going to get those wins, and we're going to see a lot more money back in our pocket, whether that's in super, paying off debt, or building investments, or other forms of income coming in. We're just going to see that sort of win every year. And it goes up from 20, depending on people's circumstances. I've seen it go as high as $100,000 a year, depending on people's circumstances and where they are in life. Because we've always got to think that, when it comes to finances, there's this compounding effect. And so we can start off really small now, but then you get 20, 30 years out further out, and that compound effect is starting to add $100,000 a year to your life, without you having to do anything. So getting that team around you that can really help you stay focused, and give you that support that you need, that's really important.
And we don't know what we don't know. When it comes to finances, we're not all experts at this. So sometimes we just don't know what's available to us, or we don't know how something works. We often have people come to us to get a home loan, and they think they know how to get a home. And when we start working with them, they realize actually they don't know how to get a home. They're not sure what they're doing. And so a broker is someone that can guide them through that process and get everything lined up to get them ready.
Yep, good example, that one.
Okay, number 3, the last tip is to set up a system. So remember, step number 1 was overcome the negative voices. Step number 2 was to have a support team. And step number 3, you can think of these as steps, is to set up a cash flow system. Cash flow system is more than a budget. It's a clear way of thinking. It's a clear way of communicating and operating with our finances, with ourselves and with others that are on the journey with us. So why do we need a clear system, Archie?
Oh, yeah, we've got to get past those negative thoughts and have that solution. So this system is all about helping us find the solutions that we need and keep moving us forward. And that then helps us to destroy those negative voices and negative thoughts that we're having. So we can see, how much have we improved over the last month or over the last 6 months or the last year or the last 5 years. We've got to keep our focus on where we're heading and how we're improving. So the classic would be, years ago I heard someone say, you're looking at two people and they both have $50,000 each. Which one's winning and which one's losing? And you can't tell unless you look at their backstory. And so the one person's backstory might be that they've never had money until this last year, and things went into place for them and suddenly they've saved $50,000. The other person's backstory might be that they had $1 million 5 years ago and now they have 50,000 because they've been losing it.
Yep.
So we can't tell how we're going unless we're looking at that backstory.
Yeah.
And then comparing it against, how we want to be. So we've got to be able to track things and track our goals and track what's happening in our finances. And then when we come across a problem, this is very common for us. When we come across a problem, we can go in and find out why there's a problem and what's causing the problem. So, and that helps us to find solutions. Yep.
Yeah, solutions focused.
Yeah, look, I had someone say to me years ago that we'd stolen all this money off them. And I'm like, mate, there's no way we can steal money off you. We don't have access to your money. It's like, and look, it turned out that in their situation, they had spent $50,000 that they'd forgotten about.
Okay.
Yeah. But once we went into the system and we tracked it, we found that $50,000 that they'd spent.
Okay.
Yeah. And once we solved the problem, they were happy again and they got on with life and they knew why they'd done it and what had happened, and then put their focus back on their journey and kept moving forward. And they did really well. But nice. that one thing could have totally derailed them because they felt like they'd failed and they'd forgotten what had happened.
Yeah.
And didn't realize what the backstory was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we fixed it.
So we need a clear system. We need a clear system that can show us our money, what's committed, what's free, what's changing, and that can allow us to adjust. Again, being solutions minded, that can overcome that negativity. Otherwise, we're just left to our own thoughts, like you said in that example. When we're left to our own thoughts, that's not good because that's where fear and doubt, worry can step in and actually take over our decisions, take over our decision making. And I guess we talked about before about negative thoughts, given we can have so many on any day. A system, what it does is help us take action, and action is what overcomes those negative thoughts. When we're moving forward, if we don't do anything and we stay still, that's when the thoughts keep repeating and we get those symptoms of worry and anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've been seeing such great results from what we do to help people with being that, as advocates, being that person that's part of their team, and having other people, helping put things in place as well, which could be accountants, lawyers, financial planning, and
business
but
coaches.
Also, business coaches. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then having the system that allows us to actually work things through. That's where we see our results.
Yeah, that's where we get that whole picture, that entire
Yeah.
story, because we're tracking the goals, the wealth, that whole financial picture. Yeah.
Yep. And keep moving. Like the classic would be, years ago we had high interest rates. We got up to 9%, and this would be before the global financial crisis. And people were saying to me, well, I need to sell my house. I can't afford this. And I'm going, no, stick with the plan. Hang in there. These interest rates won't stay here.
Yep.
And for those people that stuck with the plan, they saw the interest rates drop dramatically. They got in and paid their homes off. They did really well. The people who sold their homes, they lost because they didn't hang in there and they didn't wait for the change to come through. And they actually lost their home. They lost their ability to get ahead. And it had big impacts. And that was because of the negativity that was happening at the time.
That's also a good point to maybe wrap up on, is that if we are feeling like we're in a negative situation or we just feel like we're hanging in there, I guess the encouragement is that life will keep changing. So hang in there. Don't give up.
Yeah, that's it.
Because things will get better, but we've got to make a decision to overcome that negativity and look for solutions, because there could be opportunities in this season right now that are about to set you up for the next season, and we don't know when that next season is going to be. Could be tomorrow, could be next month, could be next year, could be today.
Yeah, even people who've lost their jobs because of health reasons, unable to work again, and feeling like their life is over, we've been able to help them get their income system sorted out and get them into a great place where they're now enjoying their life and going, wow, I never knew this existed. They didn't know the money that existed. They didn't know how super worked and how that could benefit them. And so we've seen great turnarounds there as well. So every one of those examples we've helped people get through all of those. And it's such a good feeling when you get through it and out the other side and you get on to the next challenge, because the next challenge will come.
and that's why we need financial resilience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, Archie. Thanks for the chat today. This is great. Hey, if you've enjoyed this discussion, let us know. There's an email in the show notes, or you can click through to our website and send us a message. You can also ask us questions. We have upcoming Q&A episodes, so you can submit your questions and we'll answer them on the show for you.
Right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. And leave us a review. Let us know how you're finding the show, and especially get us in some questions. That'd be fantastic. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
So, Mind Over Money is for education purposes only, does not consider your personal financial situation. So, if you need to speak to someone about your personal financial situation, including home loans, head over to our website. We can hook you up with someone that can really help you there. Waymakerpodcast.com.au, that's where you want to head to.